Hello everyone, my name is Tamsin Regnes and I help people discover what makes them tick and appreciate that others may talk using a very positive personality framework called the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator. And today I'm going to talk to a lovely lady called Kim Searle, who I met when I was being interviewed for the radio, Brooklyn's Radio, by the lovely Mandy Dineley, and we discovered that we both were trained in delivering the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, or MBTI framework, but Kim was there for a very different reason in terms of the other things that she's now branched out into, and I was fascinated with some of the things she does, and I thought it'd be really useful to find out a little bit more about what she does, and also to see how that can often be a follow-on phase from some of the things that I do. So I'm helping people to discover their personality type, how they prefer to do things, and what their true self is in terms of that. But actually sometimes people have been working in a way that isn't their preferred way, be it because of work or the situation they find themselves in. And actually what Kim does is help them to be their true authentic self. By a number of ways. So let's talk about how it is that you do that, Kim, if that's okay.
Yes, thank you very much, Tamsin. I appreciate it. Yeah, so I branched out into a number of different things over the years, but primarily hypnotherapy, NLP, and a bit of coaching, blended together. And the idea is I'm all about emotional intelligence, emotional mastery, working at that really deep level to help people feel better about who they are. Mm-hmm. And one of my signature programs is Be More You. And I love the fact that the Myers-Briggs starts that process of saying, you know, your preferences, because that is who you are. It's what you want to do in life. And I just take it to a whole different layer, in as much as we have been programmed from a very young age to be a certain way, to behave in a certain way, to think in a certain way by our parents, our siblings, our peers, workplace, society, religion. And of course, we've taken it all on, but it's not necessarily everything that we are. So I'm very keen to help them get back to the essences that you start finding when working with them.
So the first thing you said, one of the things you said to do was hypnotherapy, and you know, some of us will have preconceived ideas, be it from holiday camp when we were younger to TV programs or whatever it is, and can you perhaps explain or allay any anxieties about the hypnotherapy that you're doing when you're working with a client?
Yeah, I'm very person-centered. I did a counselling course years ago, and person-centered was a beautiful phrase, I felt. It's all about the person who's in front of me. I'm their advocate. I'm there cheering them on. And the language I use, and I've been taught to use, is suggestive. So the person who is in front of me will interpret it the way that's right for them. And should I say anything they don't like, then they'll just ignore it, throw it out the window, or be quite, open about it. Mm-hmm. But where I'm working is very much at the state of mind that is, we've got a conscious mind, which is all our five senses. We all know our five senses. They're here and now. You're listening to me, you're watching this, you may be holding a drink like I am, lemon water. So you're in the now, but there's a whole vast array of things that your brain is doing while you're doing that. It's keeping your heart pumping, your eyes blinking, you're swallowing, breathing, blah, blah, blah. But it also stores all our emotions, all our past history. So if I asked you to remember the name of your first pet, most of you probably could do that, but it's not in the forefront of your mind, it's somewhere else. And that's where I'm working. But to get there, I need to quieten this noise down, this prefrontal cortex. So I talk to the conscious mind and keep that occupied whilst the unconscious mind does what it needs to do. And I have no idea what that is. The individual may not, but it will be doing it for its highest good, because the unconscious mind is all about keeping us safe. That's what it's programmed to do. Pretty much nothing else, just keep us safe. So it'll take nothing on. So I'm not one of these stage hypnotists who make you act like a chicken. I wouldn't even know where to begin. what I am doing is using language and imagery and feelings to help the person clear whatever it is they need to clear and replace it with something much stronger and better.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think in the past, you've talked about, almost like driving a car without thinking about it, and not being, you wouldn't do something you wouldn't normally do.
Exactly.
Is that correct? Yeah.
They're always in control to the degree that they need to be in control. So I have people, it's a bit disconcerting, who will have their eyes open, but because I blend my modalities, I'm not just using hypnosis. I might be using some NLP or neuro-linguistic programming, or I might have switched to a bit of counselling. Tell me about that. What's that about?
Mm-hmm.
I might be doing coaching. What would be different? How is that going to be, working in the future? So I blend all these modalities all together. So I never know quite what I'm using. It's just about the client and what they need and want.
And do you have a typical client, or is there a client you enjoy working with very much, and why?
Yeah, very good point. I mean, I came up like all marketing with the people I should be working with, or I think that, would love my staff, but actually the clients choose you. You don't choose them. And I'm seeing an increasing number of guys at the moment, and they tend to be introverts. For those who are into the Myers-Briggs, they do tend to be introverts. They're deep thinkers. Mm-hmm. And they've learnt, many of them, from an early age that it's not always safe to be who they're meant to be. So if they're emotional, they go into their head. If they are, very clever, they'll be quiet. So they're not great in big social circles. They can do it, but like you say, they get very tired. So I'm seeing a lot of those, and they tend to be business owners or in managerial positions in businesses. Okay. Not entirely, but pretty much most of them. And they're clever. They are clever. And I think because I've worked in a telecoms environment for over 20 years, I understand and get them. And I think I attract those guys very easily. And I love working with them because some of them are very creative and, can get what I'm talking about as I blend what I'm doing. With women, I get a mixed collection of women coming to see me, but they're all women who are ready to do something different. They want something different. Yeah. And they do tend to be in their 30s, 40s and 50s. They're, life is just ticking away and they need something different. So I'm very clear on the guys because I've seen a lot of them just lately. The women are a little bit more sporadic. Come on, ladies, I can help you too.
And, what would be the process that you would, sort of take someone through in terms of starting working with them? What would be the best, way for them to contact you, or do you speak to them and decide whether you're a good match before you do anything?
That's a very good question. Thank you. And I do like to give people the chance to talk to me, 30 minutes free. Sometimes goes on a bit longer because obviously it depends what's going on. I think it's important that people go with the people that they're drawn to. I'm not right for everybody. If they want to be directed, and there are hypnotherapists who are very, directional in their approach, I'm not it. I'm much more facilitating the individual. So the 30 minutes is about them getting to know me and me getting to know them. Can I help them? Because there are some people that from a professional body perspective, I'm not supposed to help. People with bipolar or, schizophrenia, the more serious mental health. I do work with people with depression. To me, I've been there. I'm not in a bad way, but enough to understand that it's just a suppression of self that's happened, and if you've been suppressed, it's time to be unsuppressed. After the 30 minutes and they decide to work with me, I usually recommend 6 sessions, and the reason for that is, particularly if it happens to be a bigger issue, I need a few sessions to get really to clear and make the biggest difference for them. I can see clients in 3 sessions, but to be honest, they're not completely done. They've done enough to feel a little bit better, but not enough to feel better going forward in a long-term view. So the first session will be very much a fact find, and I end with a nice relaxation something so they can start the work there and then. The next 2-3 sessions are all about clearing. So there'll be limiting beliefs, which is just another word for rules. We've learned to rule. You know, I'm not good enough, I'm stupid, I'm not important, I'm not lovable, or I'm unlovable, I'm not worthy, just a few. There's loads of others. And then, so I work on those. And then the last session is about wrapping that up, putting them into their future themselves, and, you know, just creating the person they want to be.
Fantastic. And presumably if they, you know, you unearth things that are not within your remit, you've got plenty of people you can refer them to for that level.
Yes, I have. Because sometimes you're right, they come to me and they may need longer. So I have seen people for longer and they're happy to pay for that. But sometimes they just want somebody to listen to them. Well, that's counsellors for you. That's their role. Where people have come to the end of my process, and I sort of say I'm a pre-coach coach, because I get them to a point where they can really embrace coaching in a way that's right for them. Because depending, not all coaches are NLP trained, and even if they are NLP trained, they don't necessarily know how to work the way I do to really clear it. So yeah, I sort of work between the two.
Okay. And in terms of, obviously, you know, who you work with, can you work with someone in Scotland? You know, is virtual sessions working pretty well? How does that work with hypnotherapy? Can it be done virtually?
Yes, it can. I think the individual's got to make sure that they've got good broadband. We don't want to be dropping out halfway through. But I can set the intent. The unconscious is amazing. You know, it's so awesome with what it can do. So I can set the intent at the beginning that should the connection drop out, we prefer it didn't, all that happens is that they will come to and open their eyes, and anything that they're experiencing at that moment can be frozen, a bit like you pause your DVD player or, you know, whatever. We can just pause it, and then when they can get back online, we can deal with it. I do prefer to see people when I'm working with them, because actually a lot of it goes on in the face. I mean, they will have other things that are going on, but it will be reflected in their face. And if I can see their face, so much of our communication is non-verbal that it's really powerful. So I would prefer not to not do it on video.
Yeah.
But if there was a reason, then I just wouldn't touch in on the emotional content too much.
Okay, great.
So virtual is great, and I love it. I love this. So it works.
Your eyes are looking in the right place, isn't it? In terms of having that connection and that engagement, I think is.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, you know, I like to believe, I guess that can be, you know, countered, but I like to believe that I'm very approachable and easy to get on with. So that connection to start with is good. Doesn't mean to say the trust is there, which is another reason why 6 sessions, because sometimes trust can take 3 or 4 sessions to really come through. And then the client goes, well, actually, I've got this. Oh, should we work on that one then? And that's okay. That's okay. It's good stuff.
And I think with all of these things, isn't it? It's very much about having that connection and feeling comfortable with the person you're working with. And that's why having your 30 minutes initially, just to see whether working together is an option, is really helpful, without people having to you know, pay up front and feeling that they can just say, actually, I don't think you're for me. Oh yes, or yeah, this works well, let's do it. So that's great. Yeah. So following on from that, if someone wanted to contact you, how would they go about it?
Well, I've got email, kim@kimsearle.co.uk. You can always text me in case I'm on the phone with somebody else, on 07843 271 249, or my website, kimsearle.co.uk, and that will give you various ways that you can get in hold of me. So, but yes, that's I'd like to think that I'm quite available.
Okay, great. That's really interesting, because we'd had our small chats and about things, but it was really useful to find a little bit more about what you do and how you can help people on that journey towards getting to be the better you. Is that the correct word? Feeling better you.
Yes.
As we talked about. So thank you so much for joining me, Kim, and good luck with all that in the future.
Thank you so much, Tamsin. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Bye.